there's been even more Rostermania news in the last couple days, and a lot of it has been centered around the Thieves. The big one that has come out recently is that the Falcons were looking to offer Scrap to buy him out. And the rumor is that they were offering anywhere between about 800,000 all the way up to 2 million. That's a big chunk of money to ask for a player in the CDL as a buyout. And if you're the Thieves, that's a lot of money that you could use to help better your team. Now, obviously, a lot of fans do not want to get rid of Scrap and Hydra, me included. I think if we're moving on from Dan and possibly Envoy, that it makes sense to keep Scrap and Hydra. Those two guys could be kind of like your cornerstone pieces at this point. But with the Falcons offering up potentially up to $2 million, that's a decision that the Thieves have to actually keep in mind. Now, it got a little worrisome over the last couple days because I think no one really expected this to happen. I think everybody kind of just looked at it as the Thieves are going to keep Scrap and Hydra. And when this news broke, it was like, oh my God, Scrap's leaving. He's leaving. He's going to the Falcons. And I think I was a little nervous, but not too nervous because it seems like Scrap wants to stay with the Thieves. Now, where this becomes kind of like an issue is more so around the fact that Scrap is going to be a free agent after the season, which means that if the Thieves have the opportunity to make close to $2 million off of his contract or off of him, then you might be willing to do that because if I'm not mistaken, in the last video, we talked about the fact that Ultra had offered or had been offered $400,000 for Scrap after his rookie year from Atlanta FaZe, and they denied it. They did not want to take it. And the year after that, the Thieves ended up buying out Scrap for roughly around $75,000. So that's a huge decrease in value. Now, this situation would be even worse in some regard because he could just walk for free next year. And if the Thieves lose out on that much money, if they leave that much money on the table, that's kind of a big deal because as bad as it sounds, and as much as I don't want to get rid of Scrap or Hydra, if the Falcons are offering you close to $2 million, you get rid of Scrap, you could still make a pretty solid team with some of the free agents that are left because you're going to have a good chunk of change to spend wherever you want. And in my opinion, it seemed like there could be a chance that the Thieves could go for Kenny, Draza, and Abezy to pair around Hydra at that point. Now, if that were to happen, it would be pretty likely that Hydra would leave in the offseason as well. But at that point, it seems like there's a possibility that the Thieves could then go for Joe Deceives, knowing that he wants to pair with Abezy in the next offseason. Now, all this stuff I feel like in some regard was a little shut down within last night and then a little bit more this morning, where Nade Shot went live today watching the World's or EWC for Warzone, and he brought up the fact that he does not want to sell Scrap. He does not want to sell him. He thinks that it's like a 1% chance that the Thieves would sell Scrap at this point. And he said, just know if they did sell Scrap, it would be for a lot of money. So for me, that means either that $2 million mark was not enough for Nade Shot and the Thieves, or that was an exaggeration of a number and maybe it was closer to like the 800,000 mark. So for me, I feel a little more comfortable knowing that the Thieves are probably going to stick with Scrap and Hydra for this upcoming season. But again, my worry a little bit there is that is he going to walk in the offseason next year because that will also suck. And that's something that Nadeshot said could happen as well. He brought up the fact, like I said, the 1%, and he said he thinks that the odds of Scrap re-signing is the same as them selling him away. And he said that he thinks there's a chance that Scrap may have already denied a possible extension. So for me, I don't know how much I look into that because if you're Scrap, I think that is the smart move to make because right now you're kind of getting rid of all of your players. Like the Thieves are getting rid of everybody. And if that was the team you kind of wanted and you're a little worried on how the rest of the team is going to be constructed for this coming season and possibly seasons after that, then you kind of don't want to sign into a contract there. So I think if anything, there is still a chance that the Thieves will be able to re-sign him in the offseason. It really just depends on the team they build around him and Hydra. Now, keeping both him and Hydra, I think, is going to be tough, but that's for next offseason. We don't really need to worry about that right now. But like I said, I it seems like the rumors have kind of been put to rest at this point that Scrap is going to be staying on the Thieves. But it also came out today that Envoy is officially an unrestricted free agent. Now, unlike Ghosty, he is unrestricted, which to me says that the Thieves already have a replacement for Envoy. Something was figured out. And I think as of right now, the main rumor is that it's Abezy. And Abezy is a big pickup for this Thieves team. As much as I love Envoy and I would have loved to see him stay on the Thieves for as long as possible, Abezy is one of the best subs of all time at this point, and I feel like he just does so much well that Envoy just doesn't do the same way, if that makes sense. Like Abezy is just such a dominant sub, and if you pair him with somebody like Hydra, the pace that they're going to set is going to be absolutely insane. And I think it's a great pickup if the Thieves are actually able to get him. Now, maybe it's not a Beezy. I don't really know who else it would be, maybe besides Neptune. So there is a chance that maybe he's picked up as well. But the rumors, I think, so far are saying that it looks like it's leaning towards a Beezy. Now, with Ghosty, we still haven't really heard much of what's going on with him. And with him being a restricted free agent, there is still a chance that the Thieves stick with him. Now, from what I've heard, it seems like that's going to be pretty unlikely that Ghosty may not want to come back after kind of like the Thieves shopping around. They might have burned that bridge, unfortunately. And I love Dan. So if that is the case, that really sucks to hear. But the positive news, at least in my mind, around that is the big rumor right now is Kenny back to LAT. Not everybody's going to like this. I know a lot of people have had their thoughts on Kenny, but I personally love it. I think a lot of the people who are upset with Kenny and how he performed this past season and they're worried about that happening again on a new roster, I think they're way too worried about the recency bias, or they have way too much recency bias, because Kenny has been a dominant player in the league basically ever since he's been brought up. So to me, looking at this past season where he struggled a lot at the start of the season, just like the rest of the Optics squad did, when he moved to G2 or Minnesota Rocker, I should say, they were not the best of teams either. And he's coming into a new system with three young players and trying to make it work. Not that they were a bad team, but just he was kind of on the go most of the time. And that's obviously going to be really hard to find some sort of consistency. But if it's true that Kenny is planning on coming back to the Thieves, that rumored roster now becomes Kenny, Scrap, Hydra, and Abezy. And to me, that sounds like a pretty damn good team. I know somebody, I don't remember who it was, so I do apologize, but I know somebody asked the question of like, is this more of a super team than what this past BO6 team is? And honestly, if this team would have been put together at the start of the BO6 season, I think it would be. I think right now, the reason people are going to look at it as, I don't know, is because Abezy didn't necessarily have his best of years this year, and then Kenny definitely did not have a great year this season. But to me, that just shows that Kenny's stock is the lowest it's been in a while, and he has more than enough um, ability to reset and bounce back. And I think with a consistent team and a team that has as much slaying as this team is rumored to have, I think he's going to be a great fit. He's a great leader and he knows COD. He knows the game well. He has 2 rings under his belt. Abezy has 2 rings under his belt. You got Paco with 1. Scrap is the only one who hasn't got a ring yet, but the talent is there. The talent is there. And I think the leadership from the 2 vets who have won multiple championships are going to help push this team to a level that people may not be anticipating because of how they look at how Kenny and Abezy played last season. So for me personally, I'm really not too worried about that. And like I said, as much as I'm disappointed in the fact that it seems like Ghosty is gone and Envoy is gone, at the very least, we get to keep scrapping Hydra. And it seems like Kenny could be coming back. And to me, that is a massive win because Kenny should have always been on the Thieves. I feel like this guy should have been the franchise player for this team, for this organization. And if he actually comes back, I think that is a massive win for us Thieves fans. Now, like I said, not everybody's going to agree with that, but I'm looking forward to this coming season if that ends up being the roster because I definitely see Kenny proving all the doubters wrong, and I think this team could be really freaking good. I'm excited, like I said, if this stays the way it is, or if the rumors end up being true. But obviously, we're still pretty early in Rostermania. I do think some of the dominoes have started to fall, so maybe we'll start getting some more information soon. I still think once we hear about Celium and where he decides to join, which as of right now, it seems like it's going to be the Falcons, I think that will start to spiral things. I think Abezy could be another piece that, puts the puzzle together and starts moving pieces for other teams, but there's been a lot of rumors going around. And so I think things are going to start picking up fairly soon. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below because I know, like I said, not everybody's going to have the same opinion as me. And I would love to hear what you guys think about this rumored roster. If you like the idea of having Kenny back, and if you think it's even possible to get a Beezy, because I know that's been another topic of discussion. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace out.